BTS news. Shocking news came from the South Korean entertainment world, and the world could not turn a blind eye. Exactly 15 minutes ago, Jungkook, the main vocalist of BTS known for his courage and sincerity, shook the virtual world and the hearts of millions of fans with an unexpected statement. With a trembling voice, teary eyes, and a tone of voice that sounded both wounded and relieved, Jungkook finally confessed, "I kept it for too long. My feelings, my love." Such a simple but thrilling phrase, especially for those who have been following the Golden Magne's emotional, personal, and career journey. In an apparently unplanned broadcast, Jungkook appeared dressed in casual dark clothing. He seemed to be sitting alone in a simple room, away from the glittering stage, away from the frenetic concert, and away from all professional lighting. The broadcast, which took place live, suddenly appeared on BTS's official account and was immediately flooded with millions of viewers in just seconds. No background music, no big announcements. There was only Jungkook, and for the first time, he sat down not as an idol, but as a young man who held something so deep that he couldn't hold it any longer. At first, he just stared at the camera with empty eyes, as if he was organizing his thoughts. His breathing sounded heavy. Then he sighed deeply, trying to smile, but the smile never really formed. He muttered, "I have to talk. I can't be quiet anymore." Those words stomped on ARMY, making the atmosphere tense and thrilling. Over the years, BTS fans have come to know Jungkook as a perfectionist, diligent, attentive to detail, and very secretive about his personal life. He often shows his affection for the members in the ARMY, but when it comes to deeper personal feelings, especially about love, he always chooses to remain silent. But this time it was different. Something made the walls collapse. The tears broke out, and the confession, which had been only speculation, was finally revealed. "I love someone," she said, closing her eyes, tears slowly dripping from the corners of her eyes. "And I've kept it for too long, too deep, too scared. But I'm tired. I want him to know. I want you to know. I can't keep pretending." The sentence shook the audience's emotions. The comment section exploded. The hashtags #Jungkook Confession and #We Love You Jungkook shot into the ranks of the world's trending topics in just a few minutes. Everyone wants to know, who is Jungkook's loved one? Why did he dare to reveal it now? But in the broadcast, Jungkook did not mention a single name. He simply conveyed his heart's content, honestly, raw, unfiltered. He tells how all this time he harbored those feelings, kept them in his songs, in his silent gaze, in a forced smile. "I wish this feeling had gone away. But every day, that feeling grows deeper. I tried to resist, to avoid, to be busy with work, with schedules. But every night, when I'm alone, he's all I think about," she said. Her voice trembled as she recalled moments of togetherness that made her realize that her feelings were not just ordinary admiration or closeness. He tells how a person's laughter can heal his fatigue, how his smile becomes a light in his dark days, and how his presence is always a reason to stay afloat. He didn't know, maybe now, but I hope he can feel the sincerity of all this, Jungkook said, staring into the camera as if he were speaking directly to his loved one. Speculation has also sprung up. Some fans mentioned names that have been associated with him, both from among artists, close friends, and even BTS members themselves. But amid all the excitement, there was one strong impression from Jungkook's broadcast. He wasn't looking for a sensation. It's not about romance for attention. He just wants to be honest. He wanted to let go of the burden he had been carrying for too long. The broadcast, which lasted about 20 minutes, became one of the most emotional moments in BTS history. Even in the last few seconds, when Jungkook wiped away his tears and said, "If you see this, I want you to know, my heart is always for you. Although the world opposes, I will not be ashamed." The atmosphere became so quiet. Not a few soldiers admitted to crying with Jungkook, feeling bitterness and courage in every sentence he said. Reactions came from all over the world. Many fans praised Jungkook's honesty and expressed their full support for him. Celebrities, influencers, and public figures also spoke out, giving empathy and appreciation. Even major media outlets such as Billboard, CNN, and The Guardian wrote breaking news about the superstar's emotional confession. Interestingly, the BTS members also began to react. Shortly after the broadcast ended, Jimin posted on the Weverse platform with a short sentence, "I'm here for you." Suga, who is usually known to be calm and reserved, posted a heart emoji and a hug. RM, the leader, wrote, "Love should not be a burden. You've taken a brave step, Kook." Their reaction shows the strong bond between the members, and how they are ready to support Jungkook unconditionally. In the midst of all this, many soldiers began to reflect. During this time, they always saw Jungkook as a strong figure, full of talent, and always smiling on stage. But tonight, they see the most human side of Jungkook, a young man who all this time had to restrain his feelings because of public pressure, for fear of disappointing, for fear of losing everything just because he wanted to love. The question arises: will Jungkook reveal who he loves? Will he continue to live in silence? Or is this the first step to a more honest and open life? No one knows for sure. But clearly, the world has now seen the courage of a man who chose honesty even though the world may not be ready to accept it. At the end of the broadcast, Jungkook said quietly, almost in a whisper, "Love is not a disgrace, but holding it for too long can make you lose yourself." A phrase that touches the heart of anyone who has ever loved in silence, who has ever been afraid to express, and who has ever felt the world leaves no room for sincere love. As the night wore on, and the broadcast continued to be shared millions of times around the world, Jungkook's voice still rang in the ears of his fans. His tears, his confessions, his courage, all of them are proof that behind all the fame and the spotlight, Jungkook is just a human being who wants to be loved and loved. This story is not over. Maybe tomorrow, next week, or next month, there will be a continuation of this confession. But for tonight, the world just wants to hug Jungkook and say, "You're not alone." Will the love he has kept for so long find its way? Only time can answer. But one thing is certain, Jungkook's confession tonight has changed everything. Not just for him, but for anyone who has ever felt the need to hide their love for the world. As soon as the broadcast ended, millions of soldiers around the world sat in heavy silence. Some of them even claimed to be speechless, being able to just stare at the screen while letting the tears just fall. Some ran to write an open letter to Jungkook. Others posted video clips of him crying while tucking in messages of encouragement. "You don't have to be ashamed to love. You deserve to be loved sincerely, and we'll stay here for you." Meanwhile, the world began to speculate. Who is the person who managed to shake Jungkook's heart so that he cried in front of millions of people? Among the thousands of names that appear, there is one name that is most commonly referred to: Taeyong. For most of the army, the closeness between Jungkook and Taeyong is nothing new. The two have for years shown a bond that goes beyond the limits of ordinary friendship. From their deep gazes on stage, from the hugs that are always meaningful, from the way they look after each other behind the scenes, everything raises questions that are never really answered. But tonight, it all made more sense. There is something behind Jungkook's crying, which can only be explained with one word: love. Despite never mentioning names, Jungkook's every sentence points to someone very close. "He was always there when I was vulnerable," she said quietly, "and I was always afraid of losing him, so I chose silence." But silence hurts. That sentence scratched the hearts of many fans. They begin to replay every moment of Jungkook and Taeyong's interaction captured on camera. Like when Jungkook hugged Taeyong backstage after his last concert before enlistment, or when they are caught on camera staring at each other for a long time while singing a meaningful song. All of that is now seen with a different lens.